Today I asked the question, is Jesus a fraud? And I know that this is going to elicit a lot of emotions with some people, but you must prove all things, each and every individual. You may not let somebody else take your crown. You may not let someone else do your studying for you, because they could in fact take your crown as a result. Not take your crown for themselves, but take your crown away from you and dispose of it. So answering this question, I'm going to begin in Revelation 12, in timing of Revelation 12. And what Yeshua, notice I didn't say Jesus, but what Yeshua said about the God of this world. Revelation 12 and verse 1, And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. That is not the church. Replacement theology, as condemned by Paul in Romans 11, teaches that this is the church. It is not so. It is not the Roman church. It is the 12 tribes of Israel, named individually and collectively together. They are Israel. And she, being with child, travailed in birth and pain to be delivered. Israel delivered up the Son of Man. The Gentiles did not. Rome did not. Yeshua was a Jew, is a Jew, and shall always be a Jew. Therefore, his mother is Israel. Never forget that. And there appeared a wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Now this is a representation of the Gentile kingdoms. 7 heads being Chaldean Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar, the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Grecian Empire. The Medo-Persian having 2 heads, and the Grecian Empire having 4 heads, with the 1 head of the Chaldean Babylonian Empire altogether. That is 7 heads. The 10 horns are 10 kingdoms in Europe. The Iron Age originated in Europe, just as the Bronze Age, the Brass Age, originated in Greece. Study Daniel the prophet carefully. His tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. We all understand about Herod the Edomite tried to kill Yeshua, Messiah, while he was a child. Verse 5, And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all the Gentiles with a rod of iron. And a rod of iron means conquering. But once again, timing is everything. And her child was caught up unto Jehovah, the Father, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of Jehovah, that they might feed her 1,260 days. Now you must understand, these first 6 verses are a summary of the beginning, when Israel brought forth the man-child, to the very end, to the time of the end, which is in front of us, not behind us. Now, people have often wondered when verse 7 takes place. And there is an answer. Verse 7, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven for them. Why? That great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceives the whole world, he was cast onto the earth. Not under the earth, on the earth. And his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come where? Come to where? Come to heaven. Salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accuses them before our Elohim day and night. And they, the followers of Yeshua, overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Why? Because once Yeshua ascended to heaven, there was no more room found for the accuser of the brethren. Rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know that his time is limited. You see, before this event took place, it appeared to Satan that his time was unlimited, because there was nobody. There was nobody to unseat him. But once Yeshua prevailed over Satan, then Satan's time became limited. Now, I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go to John 14, and we're going to see something here that is going to explain the timing. And it is impossible, once again, it is impossible to screw this up unless one wants to be deceptive. Okay, let's see here. John 14, start in verse 27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not the kind of peace that the world gives, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard how I said unto you, I go away, and then I come back again unto you. If you loved me, you would rejoice, because I said, I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, that you might believe. Now here it is right here, folks. Here it is. Here is the heart of the matter. Here is the truth of the matter. Here is the one you cannot escape from. Hereafter, verse 30, hereafter I will not talk much with you, because the prince of this world cometh and has nothing in me. So what he is saying is, when he goes to the Father, that the prince of this world, Satan, comes to the earth. And so now you understand the timing of Revelation 12 and verse 12, or verses 10 through, or 9 through 12. You could say from 7 through 12. So, Revelation 12, verses 7 through 12, takes place right after Yeshua ascended to heaven. Now we know. So, when Satan was cast down, he took control over religion, the world religions. And in the kingdoms of the 10 toes, which are the last ones, the kingdoms of Europe, he took the religion that was taught in Israel and taught in Rome, and he perverted it. He replaced everything, even the name of the Messiah, and he replaced it with his own name. You heard me right. He replaced the name of Israel's Messiah with his own name. Israel's Messiah has a name, and it's not Jesus. It is Yeshua, which is derived from Yehoshua. It means Yah is salvation. Jesus cannot mean Yah is salvation. It is impossible. For one, Jesus never was a Hebrew name. It cannot be translated to Yeshua or Joshua. In the English, it's Joshua. And if you, like I said before, you get on your Android phone. I do not have an Apple phone. But you can get on your Android phone and talk to your Android phone and ask your Android phone how to say Joshua in Spanish, Greek, French, and Italian, and it will all come up with the same Hashua. Which means Satan, when he was cast out of heaven and thrown down to the earth, took control over the nations, over all the nations' religions, and put his name on it. Not only did he put his own name on the religion of the 10 toes, he put his image on it. And when you read John 14, verse 30, where it says, "Hereafter I will not talk much with you." In other words, Yeshua won't be heard from. Now, if you were to go to Luke 19 and verse 12, he likened himself to a certain man of noble, 19 and verse 12. He likens himself unto a certain nobleman who went into a far country to receive himself a kingdom and to return. And people think that Jesus is ever present with us when Yeshua plainly said that you will not hear from him what is it? I don't know why this thing scrolled down on me while I wasn't... in verse 30, "Hereafter I will not talk much with you, because the prince of this world comes and has nothing in me." So what did he mean when he said to the disciples that ask anything in his name and he will give it unto him? He was speaking unto the disciples. But once Yeshua ascended unto heaven and stayed there, nobody heard from him. The only thing that we have is his words now. And the Holy Spirit came in his place. So, it is not surprising that the world, or that I should say that Satan, exchanged the name of Yeshua with Jesus or Jesus, which are of pagan origins. I have talked about this time and again. You can look it up for yourself. Jesus means "I am a swine." Literally, it does, in Latin and in Greek. And the swine was the choice animal for sacrificing on the altars in Greece. And it was Antiochus IV who sacrificed a swine on Jehovah's altar at the temple in Jerusalem, thereby desecrating the temple. And Jesus means "Hail Zeus." And the idol who Antiochus IV sacrificed this swine to was none other than Zeus. So today we have the continuation of the sacrificing or the hailing the name of Zeus, which Yeshua himself, in the book of Revelation, and I believe it is chapter 3, could be chapter 2. I believe it's chapter 2. Starting in verse 13, where he talks to the church in Pergamon, Pergamon being Asia Minor, where the Greeks once ruled. I know your works and where you dwell, even where Satan's seat is. Satan's seat was Zeus's altar in Pergamus. So any altar to Zeus or any sacrifice to Zeus is a sacrifice to Satan. So when you say, "Hail Zeus," instead of Yeshua, you are acknowledging Satan rather than Israel's Messiah. This all goes back to, in the beginning, where Jehovah the Father, after the sin of Adam and Eve, promised Eve that her seed, which came from Israel, would overcome Satan's seed, which is the religion, the kingdoms of this world. So now we understand Revelation 12 a little bit better. And let's go to verse 13. So now we get a little bit better time frame here. When the dragon saw that he was cast on the earth, what happened? Murder, torture, burning at the stake for almost 2,000 years is what happened. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. So where it says he persecuted the woman that brought forth the man-child, that took place from 70 AD, or I should say 67 AD, until you could say 1948, you could say 1967, or you could say at the end of the 77s, which is where we stand right now. I think either one of those interpretations might be sufficient. So, for nearly 2,000 years, this great persecution took place. And there was no place for the Jews or the followers of Yeshua to hide from these pagan Romans who subverted the true religion and turned it into a satanic one. And to the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place. Now that began, in my opinion, the beginnings of that was in 1917, and it increased, and it shall increase even more until the very end, when the doors are going to be shut. That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for times and half a time from the face of the serpent. Why is this place no longer accessible by the serpent? Because it is at a time when the kingdom of Israel is about to be restored again. That's why. Verse 15, and the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away to the flood. And many of us agree that this is the invasion of Israel that is to happen in the latter days, that Ezekiel 38 and 39 speaks about, that I believe it's Zechariah 14, Zechariah 12 speaks about. Verse 16, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. That would be the monstrous earthquake that takes place in the sixth seal, and that takes place in Ezekiel 38, the great shaking. And when the earth quakes, chasms in the earth opens up. Now I'm talking great earthquake. I'm not talking about piddly little earthquakes. Chasms open up and people fall in and are covered up by them. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remainder of her seed. Those are the lost sheep of the house of Israel, who the words of Yeshua were given to. Those who keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yeshua. And I think that at that point, is when he is going to open up the Holy Land to those which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yeshua. Says so in Revelation 3, starting in verse 8. I know your works. This is to the church in Philadelphia. I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. Let me start in verse 7. And to the angel to the church of Philadelphia write these things, says he that is holy, he that is true, he that has the key of David, the keys to Jerusalem, the keys of Zion. He that opens and no man shuts, and shuts it no man opens. I know your works. I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it, because you have little strength, and have kept my word, and have not denied my name, Yeshua. You see, folks, the name Jesus is a denial of the name of Yeshua. Not only is it a denial, it is a replacement name. To replace the name of Satan Zeus, who is Satan, where they say Jesus in ode and honor to Satan, rather than saying the name of Yeshua. Have not denied my name. Behold, I will make those of the synagogues of Jesus, Satan, who say they are spiritual Jews, and are not, but they do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the nations of this world, to try all of them who dwell upon the earth. And that word try is to put them on trial. Joel 3 and verses 1 and 2. Put them all on trial. Why? For what they did to Jehovah's heritage, Israel. So yes, Jesus is a fraud.